So what was it that he came to you and said, this is my boundary, that you felt like some of the things you respected and other things you compromised on? Like, can you give me any specific examples?
For example, let's see. He didn't want me to go out to the clubs with friends or whatever. Not that I was ever a very partying person, but because I did it maybe once in a month, he was like, that's too much. I'm like, well, I'm gonna be surrounded with friends. He's like, I gotta be there. And then I'm like, okay, hey, do you want to go with us? And be like, I don't want to go. And I was like, okay, well, and I'm like, well, then can I go with the friends? I'm like, no. And so one time he was like, okay, you can go this one time. It's just stuff like that.
Okay.
And another time, okay, he didn't want me to hang out with this guy friend I had for a very long time. I mean, I knew for 10 years, and I knew he wouldn't do ever anything. I mean, he's more into guys than he's ever into women. And
wait, he was like, like he was homosexual?
Yeah. He's bi.
Okay.
But he is definitely more into men. So and I was like, hey, I'm gonna hang out with him. I even communicated with him beforehand. I'm like, you gave me permission to hang out with this person before, so I am now communicating to you. This is someone I'm going to hang out with today. And he got really upset by that. And he was like, well, you didn't say it would be at, their place. I'm like, yeah, but all their siblings are there.
So, I mean, like, did he say you hanging out with other dudes, regardless of their sexual orientation, is a deal breaker for me? Like, did he tell you that?
Well, we, went through my friends list, and I was like, well, how do you feel about this person? How do you feel about that person? And I'm like, how do you feel about new people coming in? So we'd have those conversations.
So if he had said, look, if I'm going to be in a relationship with you, I don't want you hanging out with dude friends without me. Like, if it's couples and we're hanging out together, that's fine. Or if we're in a group and there's guys in the group, that's fine. Yeah. But I don't want you to, like, go off with your guy friend. How would you have reacted to that?
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I didn't like it. I didn't. But that was one of the compromises.
So do you think you'd be attracted to a guy who had no problem with you hanging out with other dudes? Do you think that you would still be attracted and, like, want a guy like that?
I don't think I'd do it again. Because, I know the friends I've made, and I've not had a problem.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I feel like it all just comes down to trust. Like, if you and your partner have an understanding of, like, you wouldn't be doing anything if I'm not there, I'm not going to do anything if you're not there, or just like that understanding, it shouldn't be an issue if you want to hang out with your friends.
I think that's lies that women tell themselves so that they can do what they want, to be honest.
If I trust you.
Because if you're in a committed relationship, and if the purpose of the relationship is eventually marriage, which seems like you guys, even though you have very loose, like, boundaries about relationships, like you're very open and you're really modern about things, like, everybody kind of says they want to get married at a certain point. So it's like, you're all saying, I want a strong man who's going to lead, who's got his shit together, who isn't in his feelings, who has, if he has a boundary, he's going to be upfront, he's not going to violate it later.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, you're like, but I also want him to let me hang out with my guy friends, and I want him to be okay with me dabbling with women, and I want him to let me do what I want when I want. Do you see, like, where I'm going with it? How it sounds like you guys kind of want the strong guy who's going to hold it together, but you also want him to, like, let you do whatever you want.
Well, let me ask you this. Why does a man, not wanting you to hang out with a guy friend equate to a strong man? Why does that make them a strong man?
Why do I need a leash?
Yeah. Well, it depends. Do you want him hanging out with women when you're not there?
I didn't care if he communicated. Yeah.
Okay, I hear what you're saying, but I pay attention to what women do, not what they say. So if you say, I'm fine with my boyfriend going off and hanging out with his girl who's a friend, it doesn't bother me. What I'm hearing is, that's not a guy you really want. That's not a guy that you're actually into, who really, like...
Maybe you're speaking for yourself, but that's not for me, that's not what happened. I loved him. I wanted a whole future with him.
But not enough to not hang out with the guy friends. Right. But not enough to
remember, I compromised. I didn't hang out with guy friends unless he said, this is okay. Period. And I even went out of my way. I'm like, hey, meet them. Assess them for yourself.
Right. I agree.
And, yeah.
Oh, I have a question. Yeah. So you said that your most recent boyfriend cheated on you. I'm curious, did he cheat on you with a woman or with a man?
With a, I mean,
Because you said he's bi, right?
no, that was the friend.
Wait.
The friend, the guy friend I have, that's not my boy, or ex, I should say.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought you were dating a bi. It sounded like
No,
you were
I'm
dating a guy who was bi. Okay.
Wants to hang out with the bi friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Never mind. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Continue with your.
So yeah, I mean, we compromised. And so, you know, I was even saying, hey, meet these friends, assess for yourself, tell me who you're comfortable with, etc. Because I don't want to be disrespectful. You know, I get we have our differences and I want to respect that. But you know, so, and he said this person in particular was okay. And so I was going to hang out with them. And then he got upset. And then I get a message from him saying,
Wait, why did he get upset?
I don't know.
Was it the case that you kind of pushed and pushed and pushed until he accepted and he was like, fine, you can hang out with the one guy, I guess, because he's mostly gay? Like, was it kind of like that, or was it? Or was he like, oh no, Joey is fine, hang out with Joey all you want, and then he just randomly got upset for no reason? Or?
No, I mean, this was something we agreed to for a long time, and it finally came down. And mind you, the whole hangout that was supposed to happen was supposed to be kind of just professional. I was helping him with a film project. And yes, it was going to be at his home, but he has this home with a bunch of other siblings, and it wasn't just going to be him. And I wasn't going to his room. I've never been in his room, actually. And
So why did he get upset is what I'm trying to
because
ask.
he wasn't aware at the time that I was going to the apartment. Okay, sure, I didn't say that. But I mean, I explained the situation to him, and he was still upset. And then he was like, okay, you know what, I'm going to hang out with a friend. I'm like, friend, define friend. And so he said it was a woman. I was like, okay, what's her name? And her name is Hannah. And then I was like, I've never heard you mention her before. And he's like, oh yeah, I met her yesterday at Journeys. She was helping me buy a shoe. I'm like, and suddenly this is a friend you're gonna hang out with one-on-one. And he's like, yeah, you shouldn't have a problem with that. You got to hang out with your friend. I'm like, that's different. That's a total stranger. You don't know her. I don't know her.
So it sounds to me like he was trying to give you a taste of your own medicine so you could feel how he was
but it's a
feeling.
total stranger that he had
Maybe-
never even really met.
Maybe it was, but I mean, statistically, you're more likely
Here's the
to
thing.
cheat with a guy who's your friend.
Sure,
and
I,
men
I,
know this.
I understand
They
that.
know
True,
this, yeah.
I'm not going to disagree. It's if you know someone who's familiar, it does make it easier.
Yeah.
You know, but in this case, yeah, it was a total stranger, and I know he was trying to give me a taste of my own medicine, but you know, it's a completely different situation. I know my friend for 10 years. This is someone he met yesterday, and this is someone that we had a communication about. This is someone we never spoke about, never even knew, and so it's those kind of things. If that makes any kind of sense.
Yeah, makes sense. I feel like it's a situation that completely could have been avoided, though. And I think that if you are trying to date someone seriously, you shouldn't be hanging out with people of the opposite sex, period. It doesn't matter.
I will say I personally have never hung out with a guy friend one-on-one when I'm in a relationship. I don't do that. But what I will say is that if I have a guy friend that I knew before my relationship and I introduce them and we hang out together, I think that is fine.